Okay, dear Dhamma friends, sorry about the little delay. So today, the second day for the Kalalgoda English Medium Retreat. So we have time for the question and answers. So I'll invite to present with the written questions.
Most Venerable Sir, today we have altogether 6 questions, but they are all very long, all on meditation experiences.
Okay.
Walking meditation. Dear Bhante, I am a yogi who prefers walking meditation than sitting meditation, and now I have developed to maintain mindfulness for a long period, say around 20 to 30 minutes without any interruption. The reason I can maintain mindfulness for a long period is due to my determination to note the sensation of my left and right feet, beginning, middle and end, every time when they touch the ground. Will my sheer determination to maintain mindfulness on the above manner be a hindrance to further development of mindfulness? Please advise. Thero Nissarana.
Yeah, actually at the beginning it is essential to have a good determination. So basically we are based on the effort. So determination comes under the effort. When we have a firm determination, so we are not allowing the mind to waver or go to various other directions, various other distractions. Rather we are trying our best to keep our attention on the primary object. So but as we carry on, so this say our mindfulness, our concentration develops. So as it develops, so we have to understand there's a kind of a beautiful balance that we have to maintain between the effort and the concentration. So as we improve concentration, we have to little reduce the effort. Actually, this is something only the yogis who practice can understand, because this effort and concentration have to be in a well kind of a mutually reciprocal situation, where when we have fair amount of effort that is necessary actually at the beginning, but we don't have much concentration because the mind is wandering to this and that. But as mind concentrates, so we have to reduce little effort and then see whether available effort is good enough to maintain the concentration. Actually we don't need on such situation a fair amount of effort, because mind now ready to stay with the primary object. It is very much appreciating the primary object, very much love to be with the primary object. So if we are trying to put more effort on such occasion, or if we are trying to maintain the same effort, then it itself will become a kind of a hindrance. It is very much like a situation where, say for example, say we have a little kid who doesn't behave well. So suppose we are as parents or elders, so we are trying our best to behave him, to tame him. So suppose we are blaming him, punishing him, shouting him, and we are various ways we are trying to tame him. Suppose due to our lot of efforts, and we are advising him of course, and due to our lot of efforts, say now this little kid is becoming very tamed, really obedient and well behaving. On such situation, still if we are maintaining the same kind of attitude, that we are too much advising, blaming, punishing, then it becomes kind of a intolerable, because it is not necessary at all, because now the kid is really behaving well. Similarly our mind also at the beginning is not behaving well. It is jumping from one object to the other object. But as due to our effort, due to our say determination, now we are continuing the practice and our mind starts to behave well. It is now staying with the primary object. It appreciates the simplicity. It appreciates the present moment. And it understands now this, say it's in the in-breath and out-breath, say Anapanasati. So if it understands, it is better to be with the Anapanasati than going to the outside. So on such situation, only the necessary amount of energy that we have to exert. If we are putting too much energy, then itself, that too much energy itself will lead to restlessness. So restlessness is, as you know, is one of the hindrance. So atipaggahitan chittang uddachanu patitang. So that is how in the Dhamma says. So if we are putting too much effort, it will lead to restlessness. So therefore, it is necessary to have determination, kind of a firm effort, and later on we need to see how mind is behaving. Accordingly, we have to little reduce the effort and see how mind is behaving. So if we are continuously keeping our mind kind of under our control, then sometimes it can lead to kind of a frustration, kind of a restlessness. So that is how we need to, as we go on, we have to balance these faculties. Yes.
Bhante, this yogi, there are 3 sections on this question,
Yes.
experience, sitting, walking and day to day. Shall I read one by one?
Yes, yes, please.
Most Venerable Thero, sitting meditation. I focus on my breath as in, out. After a while, the breath becomes subtle and I feel a tight pressing sensation on my nose. I focus on that. After it disappears, I bring the attention back to the breath. As of recently, most days, after the breath becomes subtle, I go into a sleep, sloth and torpor. Some days, as I sit, I get this electric current-like sensation on my head, but my attention is still kept on the breath. Certain days, I feel this current on one of my arms or leg. Should I focus on this current-like sensation most? Venerable Thero.
I would like to ask, from whom is this question? Okay, nobody. So anyway, okay, doesn't matter. Okay, anyway, so basically, sometimes if we are going too early to observe these sensations, then we are sometimes we are not yet prepared, we are not yet matured to look at these things. So therefore it is better to be with the in breath and out breath, the anapanasati, till we come to a fair amount of concentration, fair amount of mindfulness. Then say when the mind is fairly calm, fairly subtle, the breath is fairly subtle, then as the question says, we are going to sleep, go into a kind of a sloth and torpor. But if we are trying to avoid this by forcefully breathing, or if we are trying to push ourselves or kind of get up and go to the walking session, or if we are introducing a new object, we will never learn this lesson. So therefore, it's all right to feel sloth and torpor, but next time also the same path we have to go. So it is not, you can't overcome at this stage this sloth and torpor by introducing a new object or going to change your, say, walking session, because this sloth and torpor is an indication that you have come in a proper path and your mind is calming down and the object becomes subtler and subtler, and you still don't have sharp mindfulness to maintain that subtle object. Next time also you have to go in the same path. Doesn't matter, you may fall asleep, but still we have to try in the same path. So here actually trial and error, you have to succeed. Say next time at least try. Say when you are go prepared and see whether at least you can spend little, say 5 minutes more than the previous session. Next time again try whether I can be with this subtle breath another 5 minutes than the previous session. So likewise, our mind has to fine tune. It's like, say, if our mind is only awakened for a gross experience, so that means still the mindfulness hasn't developed enough. But as we practice again and again, due to the practice, the object also becomes kind of a challenging in the sense that it becomes subtler and subtler. And our mindfulness has to be very sharp to keep with it and then again fully alert, fully awake. So suppose in another situation, this object completely disappears. Still we have to be awake. So that is where in a way the practice is the only solution. Again and again we have to practice, and through the practice you will understand that even when the object becomes extremely subtle, still mind can maintain fully awake, fully diligent. And even if the object completely disappears, still mind becomes very awake. So this you cannot achieve by introducing a new object, by making the object dross, or you are going to a sitting, say walking session. It's entirely wrong decision. Rather, you have to go through this. Yes.
Same yogi, second part on walking meditation. As I walk, noting the left, right movements, I feel the weight shifting from one leg to another. I feel the sole of my foot touching the sand. My mind wanders a lot, but I am aware of my thoughts. As a thought arises, as I am aware of it, I quickly break the thought and go back to the feet. Again another thought arises after a while. Thus the thoughts are not connected. It's like floating thoughts.
Yes, actually that is what we can observe when we are coming to watching the mind. So even though we think that the thoughts are very, say, like a unit, as a one unit or as a one whole thing, it is not so. Actually, more and more we observe thoughts, more and more we understand thoughts. Thoughts are kind of wholes, where things are connected very much. It is not kind of a one unit or one coherent thing. Rather, it is kind of a build-up thing, kind of a fabricated, prepared thing, where one thought is connected to another thought, another thought. Likewise, it's kind of a chain of thoughts. So in between also you might find even little gaps. So likewise, so more and more you understand this, somewhat porous or somewhat spacious nature of the mind, you can understand it is not very solid. So I don't need to fully take this as one unit or take this as one kind of a mental state, but rather it's kind of a bundle of little thoughts. So more and more you understand, more and more you are understanding it's kind of a freedom, because more you pay attention to the little spaces, this space starts to grow. More and more this space grows, the thoughts becomes grey and disappear, and it loses its power to delude us. So therefore, what you have understood is correct, and keep watching it. And if you are familiar with Chittanupassana, so that is the approach that we have to take. So we are simply watching the thoughts and not get deluded, and we are actually coming out of the thoughts and watching it. And Buddha in a way warns not to go to watch the thoughts till you have fair amount of mindfulness. But if you have mindfulness, so then even when lust arises, you can be aware. Even when hatred arises, you can be aware. And this awareness ultimately helps us to understand more about ourselves. Yeah.
Same Yogi Bhante, this is day-to-day activities. In day-to-day activities, since I live a very busy life, it's difficult to be mindful on what I'm doing, since I do multitasking. So I focus on my thoughts. I'm aware when anger arises, but I don't let it progress too far. I stop myself. Then I'm also aware when I'm daydreaming. Please advise me, Bhante. Thero Saranai.
Yeah, actually, when we are involved with day-to-day activities, so sometimes certain activities are there which involves lot of mind energy. So on such situation, it is somewhat difficult to maintain a kind of outside experience. Rather, we are fully absorbed to the work. So where a lot of mind energy is involved. But there are many other activities which does not require such kind of mental involvement. Say you are driving a car, or say when you are washing dishes, or when you are sweeping a floor. So likewise, there are some little many activities which does not require a lot of mental energy, lot of mental involvement. On such situation, probably you can be mindful. You can step back and watch what you are doing, or you can maintain kind of a, if you are sort of progressed, you can maintain even a kind of a empty mind while the activity is going on. And on the other hand, as this yogi has done, even when we are doing many other activities, we can have a kind of a little separate kind of watching, separate kind of an alert going about our mind. So is it due to these activities? When I am involved with this particular activity, is my mind get agitated? Am I getting sort of deluded? Am I getting sort of frustrated? Or am I getting developing kind of a hatred? So these are certain things we can be aware of how the mind works as we are involved with various other activities. So this is in a way a must to do when, especially when you are coming to Chittanupassana, Dhammanupassana situations. It does not mean that only during the cushion that we are watching the mind. From the very beginning, from the very moment that we wake up till the moment that we go to sleep, we have to be aware of the mind. So that is how we have to protect the mind, because the defilements have no kind of a sympathy towards us. So it does not sympathize us telling, okay, this guy is now very involved in a particular activity, I better not bother him. So there is no such agreement with defilements. So it is every time ready to come and delude us, come and overpower us. So therefore, any activity, whenever we are involved with, we have to be very aware whether am I creating I due to this activity? Am I getting fully kind of be away from the present moment? Am I fully in the future, daydreaming, or as this yogi said, kind of daydreaming or going to stories? So these things actually we have to minimize. So if we are simply allowing our mind to wander as it wish, so then we are not really protecting the mind. So we better have to kind of a protection to the mind. So if it is going too far, so we have to tame it, we have to protect it, we have to take it to a kind of a healthy object, rather than allowing it to burn with certain undesirable or unhealthy objects. Yes. So actually we are continuing with the questions. If you have any points to clarify, or if you like to add anything, please feel free to do so. Yes. Yeah, carry on.
Theruvan Saranai. Dear Bhante, I have been meditating for about 6 years and under your guidance has been progressing steadily. In sitting meditation, I am able to focus on rising and falling, and in walking left, right, lifting and placing, etc. Although sometimes mind wanders, able to bring back and focus on the object. Hence mindfulness in day-to-day activities have increased tremendously. Last 2 months, I am not very keen to do sitting and walking. Instead, focus on being mindful in daily activities. Need your help in understanding whether this is normal or is it pure laziness. Please advise on how to progress from here. Theruvan Saranai.
May I know who is... Yeah. Yes. So, have you involved with meditation continuously without much of a sort of losing your efforts? Are you involved continuously in meditation?
Usually I used to meditate at home, Bhante, but
yes.
Last 2 months, in the morning I think and I must meditate.
Right.
But then daily, when I go with daily activities, I have a fair amount of mindfulness, not
yes.
that completely, but
yes.
it moves. So then in the evening, I don't know, it's just that I don't meditate like I used to.
Yes. So it is possible, that's what I want to know, whether you lost your sort of track, or whether kind of distracted or become kind of lazy, or is it coming as a result of the meditation? So have you maintained your meditation continuously without any kind of a major distraction?
Yes, I have.
You had, right?
Yes.
So what is your present experience right now? Suppose when you are sitting, what is your present experience?
I focus on rising and falling,
yes.
and it continues. Sometimes the mind wanders, but I bring it back.
Right.
So it continues like that. It's just that the last 2 months it has been like...
This rising and falling, yes. Is it become subtler and subtler, and can you maintain that state without falling asleep and without going to another object? Can you maintain
Sometimes I do, sometimes I fall asleep. It's not a very how do I say it? Very
Stable?
Stable, this thing. Various things happen, but I am able to look at it for a fair amount of time.
Fair amount means say 1 hour?
No, maybe about 30 minutes.
30 minutes. Yes. So after that, mind wanders, is it?
No, mind wanders in between also.
Yeah.
But after that, mostly what happens is either I fall asleep or I get up.
I see.
Stop it.
So,
I stop meditation.
I mean, still falling asleep, is it? I mean, say
Yes,
if
yes.
when you are observing rising and falling, it becomes subtler and subtler, and then after 30 minutes, so either you fall asleep or you get up.
Yes.
Is it
still
okay.
happening?
Okay, I see. Okay, how about walking?
Walking, I follow left, right. I mean, I don't say it, but mind follows it,
Yes.
and then lifting, placing, and all that. Walking, mostly the mind is focused on that, but wanders sometime, but
Yes.
comes back. So it continues like that, probably about 10 to 15 minutes I should be able to focus at a stretch, and then it wanders a little bit and comes back, but can stay for about 30-40 minutes.
30-40 minutes. So how many hours, like, I mean, you are meditating per day? 1 hour at least?
30 minutes.
Only 30 minutes.
Yes.
So then better continue further. So it is, I feel it is not enough. So you have to involve further and better improve the, if it is possible, improve the, I mean the time period, because we need fair amount of practice. Then only mind starts to slowly, I mean there's a situation where we should not put lot of effort. We should not allow, I mean by force put into the object. But as far as I can understand, right now still you haven't come to that yet. So that's why, I mean, you need to further practice. So, but you maybe understand, you might understand that, I mean, you don't need to put very much the same effort like before. Right now, I mean, the mind may likes to stay with the object. Is it so, or still kind of going out?
Especially, Bhante, when I do daily, for example, when I'm driving, there are certain times where I actually focus on driving for a long period.
Yes.
And brushing my teeth, even like walking from car to my seat in office.
Yes.
So those things are actually improving.
Yes.
But sitting and doing it is the
sitting. Why are you interpreting that you are becoming lethargic?
Because I'm not doing it like I used to do.
So, I mean, what you are used to? Is it for 1 hour you are used to, and now only 30 minutes? Is
30 minutes. Now, last 2 months, I hardly did any. I mean, I didn't do any at all.
I see. So, I think better continue. Because when the mind is catching momentum, so if you are kind of deviating to something else and not involved with the timetable, then it might go and lost in some other things. So you better continue like that. So as you are maintaining the timetable, as you are continuing your typical schedule, there may be a state which comes like suppose you are doing walking meditation. So on such previously we want to by force even keep our attention on the object, on the sensation, because otherwise it distracts. But later on, as the mindfulness develops, so we don't need much effort, but the mind itself now being with the object, with the sensations. That's another progress level. But there's another stage when we are sort of trying to keep the mind on the object. Suppose we come healthily in the path, we haven't did any sort of distraction, we didn't stop in between, we are continuously maintaining our schedule. But as a matter of the practice, there is a situation, if we are trying now to maintain our mind on the object, so we may feel kind of tired. We might feel kind of it's now mind does not like to be there, rather it likes to kind of overlooking of the process. On such situation, we might feel like little lethargic. So on such situation, we should not force the mind to go and be with the primary object or with the whatever the sensation. Rather, we have to allow little, we have to remove the grip. You have to reduce the effort and allow mind to come out from the object. So So that's what we need to be very careful when we are adjusting ourselves. So if you didn't maintain fair amount of practice for a continuous period of time, so it's very unlikely that such progress would happen. So just continue your practice, improve the practice, and as you improve, and is there any kind of other attitude wise, is there any major change that you are experiencing? Say for example, previously your attitude is kind of grasping things, holding things, going to jump to various situations, getting kind of quick decisions, reacting, just such attitude is there. Now are you coming to a different kind of attitude?
Yeah, let's say, I mean, day-to-day life, those things have changed drastically. I mean,
Right.
those days I used to get angry, then with driving,
Yes.
when somebody puts
Yes.
wrong way and all that. So that all that is now have stopped.
Yes.
Even like food, the craving to a certain extent, not a
Yes.
lot. So that's why, and you tend to look at things even when you're like watching a TV program. You're watching it, but then you're not like engaged in it.
Exactly.
So those things have happened, but it's only that lately.
Could be. Now, maybe continuing, I mean, maybe progressing as well, but better still be with the timetable, try to be with the thing, and you yourself might understand when you are trying to put your mind to the object, mind like bumping back like, okay, it's not very much like to stay with the object as before.
Now, when I did meditation,
Yes.
Bhante, it stayed with the object. So
Right.
when
Are
I
you,
do it,
while it is staying with the object, are you feel happy, comfortable, or are you feel little uneasy?
no, I feel happy.
Happy. Okay,
Yes.
then continue like that. So as you go on, mind slowly get out of the object. So, and at such situation, we have to taken out our hand and let the experience to evolve by itself, without forcing, without putting our hand. Okay, it's good. It's okay. Yeah.
Bhante, this yogi's focus is on the whole body.
Oh, one moment. There's one question there. Doesn't matter. We welcome questions. Yeah.
You said that the mind at some point can
Yes.
Get tired of the primary objective, and that
Yes.
you must at some point perhaps let go of that grip.
Yes.
Can you translate that for us into technique, please?
Technique.
No, can you
Trans-
explain that in
Ah.
terms of a technique? Because then that will tell us what to do
Yeah.
specifically.
Yes.
As what does it mean to let go of that grip? Meaning, can you translate what you said in terms of a technique for us, please?
Okay. So I don't know whether I'll exactly answer your question. Let me clarify it further. Now suppose you are doing walking meditation. Say when you are involved with walking meditation, so typically we advise for a beginners, okay, when your foot is touching, just even note it, even label it as, okay, left, and when it is right foot is touching, whether it is right. So likewise we are putting lot of effort. So our whole distracted mind, we are now trying to focus to the experience. And suppose he is succeeding now, progressing, and then he stop labeling. He is now not mentally sort of verbalizing it, mentally noting it, rather he now simply be with the experience. Okay, simply when the foot is touching the ground, no, he feels it. Okay, he can very well understand there's a hardness, there is stiffness, there is lightness, there is heaviness, or there is dry feeling coming from out of the sand or whatever thing. So he can very well with the experience. So mind fully can comprehend this experience. Now suppose you are further progressing. More and more we progress, so there's a kind of a detachment happen in the mind, where mind, rather than staying with these individual objects, it comes out and look at all the objects in a holistic manner, kind of bird's eye view like. So there are many experiences. It does not go to any particular one, but rather see the kind of a common nature of everything. So at such occasion, we should not force it to go and pick a particular object and stay with that object. So it's a kind of a natural progress happens in the mind. So at the beginning, we can't see such thing. We are forcing, we are trying our best to keep our attention on the object. And as we progress, so more and more we understand the sort of nature of those objects. I mean, they are, say it's hardness, it is then stiffness, then the, say roughness or softness or whatever thing. And then again, all these things are also not happening abruptly, rather they are slowly starting, then changing, again slowly disappearing, another object, another sensation starts, again increasing, again disappearing. Likewise, we are able to see these various characteristics, various kind of a nature available in these objects. So such situations, such understandings give change our attitude in the mind. So on such situation, as we progress, now mind does not like to be with this object totally. Rather, it's partly being there and partly coming out of it. On such situation, if you are trying to push it back to the object, it is wrong attitude, wrong approach. Because any kind of satipatthana, Buddha says, kaye kanupasse vihirato chittam virajjati. So as you practice, as you carry on your practice, so there's a kind of a disenchantment. There's a kind of a say kind of a, what to say? What's the proper term? Disenchantment. Nibbida. Nibbida is the disenchantment. Virajjati is kind of fading away, not kind of losing interest. So such a situation happen in your mind. So, and it does not happen within a day, within a week, or within a month even. So that's why we have to continue practice for a fair amount of time. Continuous practice, ultimately we will come to a situation where it is now coming out of the object and likes to stay out of the object and simply looking at it like someone else's experience. So Buddha says parato. Parato means it is someone, the body is experiencing it. We are entirely out of the experience and watching it like a third person. Yes. 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 Yes, that's right. Yes. Yes. Coming out. Yes. That is very much what I am explaining. Yes. So now mind does not happy to be with the entirely involved with the object, entirely involved with the experience. Rather, it is now like to be out of the experience and overlook at it. Kind of a bird's eye view like situation where you see everything is there, but you are not much bothered about go and plunge into the experience. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, as you carry on, so if I am putting it next stage, then you will be conditioned. Yes. So it's a beautifully as we carry on, the Dhamma takes us gradually to the next step. So let it blossom like that naturally. Then is more beautiful than I am telling you what happened. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Bhante, this yogi main concentration is on the whole body.
Yes.
Venerable Bhante, this is to share the experience of today's morning meditation. As I sat down, I observed that the body was very light and felt very comfortable. Within bracket, this light feeling of the body was there from yesterday, but the mind was very turbulent. I was watching both the body and the mind in turns, but sometimes got carried away with the thoughts. After a while, I noticed sensations in the body, hard feeling, pain and soft sensations like small bubbles moving. But I did not react to any of this and understood the changes in the body and mind during the 1 hour. Much merit to you for your guiding us.
So it seems like there is no any question, is it there? The kind of sharing of the experience. I feel there's nothing much to add. So you continue your practice. So basically, when you are before you start watching other sensations, so we need to understand when we are going to see various other sensations or whatever the element characteristics, we should have well developed mindfulness, well developed concentration. Otherwise, it is like we are simply touching from the surface, kind of a say with a blunt tool that we are going to work. So, but when we are developing fair amount of concentration through say rising and falling or through anapanasati, so we are developing fair amount of concentration, we are improving mindfulness, and with that developed mindfulness, then we are going to watch various other sensations. Then we are ready. And even that is not easy, because when you habituate your mind to be at the nostril, and when you look at another sensation available at the knee, after few seconds again the mind will come back to the nose, to the nostril. So again you have to push it back to the knee. So it's entirely through practice you can again tell it, okay, now your new object is here, not here. So you have to tell it, you have to again take it here. Now with that effort, now it is, suppose you are succeeding and your now new object becomes this sensation available at the knee. And fully now you are aware what is happening at the knee. And suppose next time you can understand, okay, another sensation is building up, developing at the other side of the leg. Okay, now you have to shift your attention to there. So it might now like to stay here. So you have to again tell, okay, you have to again push the mind to come here. So likewise, so throughout the body, suppose if you can come to a situation, immediately, whenever a sensation arises in your body, immediately if you can put it, take your mind with full energy to that place. So that is really interesting. So that is some kind of a situation where you have the full control under yourself, and you can immediately guide your mind or direct your mind to the very point as and when it is occurring, as and when it is manifesting, and immediately watch what is there. So that is one kind of a aspect of the Mahasi tradition, where we are not kind of scanning from top to bottom, rather maintaining kind of an open awareness, and immediately wherever the sensation develops, we should have the capacity to immediately go and watch it. So if it is disappearing, then go to another place. Yes.
This is on sitting meditation. Thero Saranai, Most Venerable Bhante, I read the book Tridakshana Deshana, where a sermon of Most Venerable Udiriya Dhammajiva Thero was included. Now I am trying to analyze the thoughts and actions as sasangskarika and asankarika, whenever possible. Could you kindly elaborate on that concept, please? Thero Saranai.
Yeah, actually, when we consider most of our activities, so some activities are there, so immediately we think, so it is not kind of a reaction, but it is kind of an intuition. Through intuition, we are immediately coming up with a solution. Say for example, someone is fallen at the road. So suppose we are walking by. So immediately we get the instant kind of an intuition, okay, I have to raise him, I have to help him. So that is one option. Another situation, say when it is there, you start to analyze, okay, am I going to put my hand trouble, is someone is there, so is it better to lift him, or so am I get any kind of reputation due to this, or praise from him, or something like that. So then we are getting to another situation. So that becomes very much sasankarika, where you are involved with lot of rationalizing, where your left brain is involved than the right brain. So right brain involvement is more into intuition, where it is very much immediate. So it is very much like you know the solution immediately, kind of impromptu. Impromptu is asankarika. Asankarika is impromptu. So where you get the solution immediately. It's so quick. But on the other hand, there's a rational, logical kind of solution where you are thinking various things and then you are doing it. So that is sasankarika, and that is promptu. So very much so when we are doing this impromptu actions, which is coming out of intuition, so there is not much kind of I generation happens. Rather we do it wholeheartedly, immediately, and it does not generate some kind of a self. But on the other hand, so when you are thinking and analyzing and coming up with say long cost effect analysis and all blah blah things, then you are getting to a karma and all the involved activities. Yes.
Bhante, this is by the same yogi. Most Venerable Bhante, when I am doing walking meditation, I am doing the watching of the step, taking the foot forward and placing it on the ground mindfully. I feel that I am creating sasangskarika action which is of good karma effect. When I am just doing normal day-to-day work and walking, I am doing an action which is creating asangskarika effect. Am I rightly analyzing my actions? I can easily understand the asangskarika and sasangskarika thoughts. Please elaborate on this. Thank you.
So I to be honest, I feel it is too much, the analysis, because when we are involved with say walking meditation, we have to fully relax the mind. So we have to have a kind of an open, relaxed, calm attitude without going to too much analyzing, because if we are doing too much analyzing, then mind becomes tired, because mind has to be very relaxed and then fully be with the experience. And when we are doing like that, then it is very much like asankarika, because it is there. At the beginning it appears like sasankarika or kind of intentional, because we are intentionally keeping our mind on the experience. And if it is distracting, again intentionally we are bringing our mind back to the object. Of course it is sasankarika, intentional, but as you carry on, your mind likes to stay with the experience. And when the experience happens, your mind does not go into any kind of proliferation. It is calm, it is relaxed, and you are fully with the experience, and you even forget where the experience occurs. So you can't distinguish whether it is my left foot or right foot, and you are simply just be with the experience. On such situation, it's very beautiful. And if on such situation, still if you are trying to analyze it, if you are trying to create any thoughts out of this experience volitionally, purposely, then we are hindering the progress. We should not do it. Rather, we have to relax the mind, keep the inner chatter to the minimum, and then fully aware of the experience. And as we carry on with this situation, carry on like this, there may be a situation immediately, kind of sudden insights can happen, like, okay, okay, this is changing, okay, this is uncontrollable, or this is impermanent. So likewise, there may be subtle insights also can occur, and such is not possible if you are allowing, if you are deliberately analyzing the situation. So such analyzing is not at all encouraged. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Venerable Bhante,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking loud. The more you analyze things,
Yes.
the more you conceptualize things, it will increase, it will enhance the
Self-view.
Yeah, self-view.
We can't say definitely so, because sometimes by rationalizing also we can understand there is no self. So
all right.
through through reasoning also we can understand, okay, there is no self, no point of continuing like this kind of thinking. So that also is a possible chance. But here the situation is that more you are being with the experience, we have to minimize our rational thinking. So rational thinking is not encouraged during the meditation.
All right.
Because rational thinking involves the left brain, and if we are sort of fertilizing rational thinking, it in a way hinders the growth or the blossoming of the right brain activity. So through the meditation we are very much blossoming allowing the right brain to fully come into an activity, fully come up. So and again for the insights to occur, the vipassana typically we translate that insight meditation. So for the insights to occur, so there are certain conditions or certain parameters to satisfy. One parameter is such that our inner chatter has to be minimum. So this analyzing involves fair amount of inner chatter, kind of vitakka, and we are thinking. We may be even mapping our experience with our book knowledge. So that is not at all encouraged. So yes, yeah.
Venerable Sir, this yoga has two parts, sitting and walking meditation. Bhante, you have cleaned my kamatahan from the inception. Anapana disappeared a long time ago. Previously experienced the empty space, the appearing and disappearing of thoughts very clearly, and you advise me to apply the empty space as and when I can, which I do now even in day-to-day life for small periods. Since of late, when I sit, it's like everything is blurred, as if even the empty space and the intensity of thoughts is disappearing, just like how the breath disappeared, like the same process is being repeated. I know I am sitting and looking in. At times, I open the eyes and can see the emptiness in front much clearer. Bhante, please advise, have I drifted away from the correct path? Anyhow, in day-to-day life, I feel contented and light-minded, can look at difficult situations and people in a much broader aspect.
Yeah, I think you are not distracted or deviated from the correct path. So from internally also you can get into emptiness, and from externally also you can get into emptiness. That Buddha directly tells it. Ajjattaya sunyatang chittang pakkandati pasidati santittati, like that Buddha says about the inside. So you can take a internal object like say rising and falling or anapanasati, and as you are focusing to the fading side, the cessation side of any of those activities, internal activities, you can plunge into emptiness. And similarly to the outside, bahiddaya chittang pakkandati pasidati, like that Buddha says, even for the outside activity, you can look at how they are fading away, how they are ceasing, and then you can get into emptiness. So both are possible. So try both. So say for example, if you are simply looking at outside, so at the beginning you may picking up various objects, but later on it's kind of a defocusing like. There are many things available, but mind is not grasping anything. Mind is not focusing to any particular object. Rather, mind stays still within yourself. But you improved it or you got it through looking at outside. And similarly, say you are hearing a sound. So it in a way kind of an external object. But as the sound fades away, as the sound disappears, you can slowly, in that disappearing side of the sound, as you are keeping your attention on the disappearing sound, you can go into the emptiness. So these are possible avenues you have. So both ajjatta bahiddha, both are possible. Yes.
Same in walking meditation. Bhante, now the sakmana is only sensation at the sole touching the ground. All other notings have faded away, beginning to get a preference to walking rather than sitting meditation. The thoughts drift in and out, and with determination can walk from one end to the other with a blank, empty mind. Venerable Sir, for your guidance and advice.
Yeah, actually, even here now we don't need to put determination. So rather say how you can maintain your mind well relaxed. So in this situation, mind has to be well relaxed. Our attitude has to be very soft. The practice has to be kind of relaxed, kind of light experience, not forced experience. Rather, we have to maintain an attitude that allowing things to happen. We are not blocking things, we are not forcing things, but we allow things. And when we allow things and they are coming, but still we are not grasping and we are simply letting go. And when walking happens, we allow the body simply to walk, but mind is simply empty without capturing, without holding any kind of sensation. So mind stays still, but the body is walking. Say you are sitting and you are simply sitting just without putting your attention to anapanasati, without putting your attention to any sensation. Rather, mind, even though those experiences are available, mind is not going and capturing any of those. Mind is not going and holding anything. Rather, mind stays still. So that is the kind of attitude we have to enhance. More and more we do like that. So mind also becomes very relaxed, kind of resting, still, and not involved with, and a kind of a freedom develops inside. So this freedom we have to facilitate, this freedom we have to encourage, and time to time, actually we can't maintain it sometimes, so time to time mind go and grasp something, and once it grasps, we again can understand. So due to grasping, kind of a frustration occurs. Due to grasping, I am now getting some kind of a, say, friction, little frustration, little uneasiness. So we have to fully aware of that uneasiness, fully aware of little stress, little tension happens because of that grasping. If you can be aware of it, now simply release that grasping, simply letting go. And again we will come back in the emptiness. So this practice has to be further and further continue. Then you don't need to sit for many hours, you don't need to go for any kind of typical meditation approach like what we do. Simply we say, okay, you sit for 1 hour, walk for 1 hour, like that. Rather, the practice become part and parcel of your life. From the very moment that you wake up till the moment you go to sleep, you are watching the mind, and as far as possible you are trying to keep the mind unestablished, uninvolved, keeping it free. So that is where Buddha emphasized anissitocha viharati nachakinchi loke upadiyati. So each and every satipatthana, Buddha emphasized, okay, as a result of this satipatthana, the yogi will come to a situation, he likes to be anissita. He likes to maintain a life, maintain an attitude, maintain a state of the mind which is not involved, which is not grasping. Because he more and more understand, if I am grasping, I am going to suffer. So more and more because he's associating freedom of the mind. More and more he associates freedom of the mind. Mind becomes so sensitive, more open, more free. So when it is not free, when it is grasping, when it is holding, it immediately feels the uneasy, tensed attitude. So this is the approach that we have to take. Yeah.
Most Venerable Bhante, this is regarding to yesterday's sermon. This is regarding the consciousness explained in yesterday's sermon, Vijnana. When the eye contact forms, the eye consciousness takes place. This means, in simple terms, when the eye meets with a rupa, such as a tree, we get to know that it is a tree. However, the work of Vijnana through Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara is, in my understanding, when we know that it is a tree, through mental proliferation, we feel it is tall, it is a coconut tree, etc., etc. By practicing Satara Satipatthana, are we trying to stop the work of Vedana, Sanya, Sankara and then just to arrive at the consciousness as explained as eye consciousness, ear consciousness, etc., which means just to see the tree as a tree without going further than that. Please correct me if my understanding is wrong.
I think your understanding is fairly correct, because so when consciousness is there, it does not mean all the other aggregates are not present. All 5 aggregates are present, and typically what happens is we do not stop at that mere experience, as the question says. So we go to proliferation, we give values based on our internal kind of our own likes and dislikes, and we say, okay, it's a beautiful tree, it is a huge tree, it is a expensive tree, valuable tree or something like that. So based on our internal trends, internal biases, we are giving values as well. But more and more we develop mindfulness, so we come into a kind of a situation, we are losing that kind of internal proliferation. We keep the mental activity, or rather thinking, to the minimum, and we come into the situation like ditte dittamattam bhavissati. Like in the Bahya Sutta, Buddha says, ditte dittamattam bhavissati, sute sutamattam bhavissati, viññāte viññātamattam bhavissati. Viññāte viññātamattam bhavissati is the stage that what is explained here, where the kind of a mental states are happening and we are simply knowing it and allowing it to go away, allowing it to fade away, and we are not building up a story out of it. Say we are seeing a tree, seeing an object, but out of it we are not allowing any kind of thoughts to arise. Suppose such a situation. So you can watch a scene, but your mind is utterly still. Your mind is utterly silent. It does not create any kind of a comment. Can you imagine such a situation? Say typically when we see something, immediately our mind jumps and tells something as well. We can't stop the seeing at seeing level. If it is beautiful, okay, oh, it's beautiful, oh my goodness, like that. So mind come and jam the situation. Mind come and start to comment out of it. If we can simply keep the mind utterly still, utterly silent, but still see the situation. Still, it does not mean that we are closing our eyes, but eyes can see. But mind is still. So that is something that we are reaching. But we can't maintain that every time. So mind goes, and if it is beautiful, it goes and grasp. So then and there it is grasping. So there we have to apply vipassana. So when panchupadanakkhandha aniccato yoniso manasika tabba. So when the upadana happens, when the grasping happens to any of the aggregates, if it is the form, it's a visible form, and if we are grasping the visible form, so we have to understand, okay, now it is grasping. Now mind going and plunge into the object. Now mind goes and resides in the object, inside the object, holds the object. So then we have to release the hand. We have to release and coming back, letting go and come out of it. So that is the practice that Buddha encourages, and we have to continuously develop as the vipassana. Yeah. Yeah. So those are the techniques that we can maintain, or we can use to letting go. So because when we are saying, okay, you let go, so it does not mean immediately, even though we say so, we need some kind of understanding why we are letting go. So one sense, suppose someone is simply maintaining kind of a relaxed attitude. So immediately on, while he was maintaining that attitude, suppose kind of a visible object comes in front of his eyes, and due to that, now he habitually grasps it. So this grasping is in a way gross when compared to the previous peaceful state he had. So that is why it is sankata, rather olarika. Olarika means it's when compared to his previous state of mind, which is well relaxed and calm and peaceful. But now it is kind of hinged or trapped or victimized to the same object, colored by the object. So it is gross. It is olarika. Another way you can see, so it was you are maintaining kind of an empty, relaxed mind. Now it is all of a sudden it jumped to a kind of agitated state. So this agitation, this kind of excited state has happened due to conditions. So that's a sankata, and it's due to causes, paticcasamuppanna. So you can see the kind of a depth of what is happening. So more and more you understand it. So you can see, I mean, no point of allowing it, I mean, no point of continuing like that. So I better release the mind. I better allow, I better take out my mind and just be without burning. Just be with relaxed attitude, relaxed state, rather than involved or trapped attitude, trapped state. Yeah. Good. Yeah, so written questions are over. So if you don't have any other thing, we can wind up the question and answer session. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for active participation. So we'll have the Dhamma sermon at 4 p.m. today. Yes, okay. Sukhi hoto. Yeah. There's a question, is it? Yeah. Yes.
I'm just thinking about separating the body and mind, Bhante.
Yeah, separating the body and mind.
Body and mind. This is that's with 4 elements.
Yes.
Patavi, Apo, Tejo and Vayu.
Yes.
And Patavi is the hard part.
Yeah.
You get from earth. Apo and is water in the body.
Yes.
Tejo is the heat, comes from the heart, I think. Just that's heart pumps, and we get the like Vidyut Shakti or something like that, Tapa Shakti. You get it, and then air.
Yeah.
We get air inside.
Yes.
So when I separate my body and the mind, means the body, that Patavi Apo is there, Tejo Vayu is the mind.
No, not at all.
That is
wrong. That is wrong. So all 4 belongs to Rupa.
Yes.
Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu comes under the form aggregate, Rupa Skandha. Mind is entirely out of it.
All right.
Mind is the knowing part.
Yeah.
So say for example, when you feel heat, hot.
Yes.
So this hot, that properties into the physical side, the knowing hot, you know hot feeling,
hot,
that is knowing part is in the mind.
Right.
Say for example, when it is hard, so hardness is in the physical side, hardness is in the form side, and the knowing part is in the mental side. So all the 4 elements are in the physical side.
So when I die, the one part is there, the hard part is there, and that the other 2 just moves away from the body. Is it that?
You are referring all, I mean, so
that is
all four elements belongs to physical side.
Right.
All 4 elements belongs to physical side,
Yeah.
and knowing the characteristics of the elements are part of the mind. So I mean, so the difference between a dead body and the say living body. So dead body also has the 4 elements, but the mental part is lacking. So dead body, even though the body is 4 elements, there is no knowing part available in the dead body. But as living beings, the 4 elements are there in the body, but there's a knowing part available in the mind. So the nama rupa, so there are the physical aspect and the mental aspect as well. So physical aspect is the 4 elements. All 4 belongs to physical aspect. Not that Patavi Apo to the physical and Tejo Vayo to the mental. Rather, it's not. It's
separate and it's like an antenna looking at my feet.
So that antenna is the mind part.
That's
Yes. Antenna is the mind part. The knowing is the mind part.
Right.
The whole physicality is the 4 elements. Yeah. Good.
Thank you.
Thero Sanna. Okay, thank you very much for active participation. So we'll have the Dhamma sermon at 4:15 p.m. Yeah, okay. Maybe 4 p.m. We'll see how situation. Yeah. Right.